Hey everyone, welcome to the PCS-Proof Podcast, where we're covering the vital things you need to know to thrive in every season of military life. I'm your host and milspouse fitness expert, Grace Barnick-Damazo, and I encourage you to join me each week as we dive deep into topics like fitness, wellness, and entrepreneurship as a military spouse so that you can maintain your own sense of identity and purpose, conquering every transition with strength and resilience. As we journey together, you can expect uplifting conversations and insights. We'll share some laughs, and you can count on me to keep it real so that together we can become truly PCS-proof. Now let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the PCS-Proof Podcast. Today we're talking about something that is all too familiar for many of us, and that is pain. And no, I'm not talking about mental or emotional pain, at least not this time, although I know that military life can bring plenty of that too. But today we're talking about physical pain, either chronic pain or due to injury, and how to safely work around that pain or injury so that it doesn't hinder or delay your progress towards your fitness goals. Can you think of a time that you got hurt, a time in your life that you experienced physical pain? Maybe it was a sports injury or from an accident or something repetitive like heavy lifting or even carrying a little one around. Or maybe it was due to a flare-up from an old injury that you thought was long gone. What feelings came up when you first felt that pain? Were you scared that it was going to get worse, like it was going to keep getting worse? Were you worried that you wouldn't be able to keep doing the things that you love? Maybe you felt anxiety about taking time off or losing progress, wondering, am I going to regress or can I bounce back from this? These are just some of the emotions that many of my clients share with me when injury or chronic pain enters the picture. There's always so much fear, anxiety, and worry, and it's scary. I know this because I've been there too. When I was a freshman in high school, I injured my knee while playing soccer. What started as a small meniscus tear turned into a full-blown knee injury that required surgery because, like many of us, I pushed through the pain instead of resting. That's a mistake that I don't want you to make, but it's important to acknowledge that these feelings are normal. Athletes at every single level deal with injuries. Even at the most recent 2024 Summer Olympics, we saw amazing comeback stories. Athletes who faced months, even years sometimes, of recovery after brutal injuries only to come back stronger and medal. They worked through the mental and physical pain, pushing past the fear and the doubt, and we love these comeback stories, don't we? And here's the thing, we can do the same. Whether it's a minor strain or something more serious, injury doesn't have to stop us. And today I'll be sharing 5 practical strategies that you can use to overcome these obstacles and stay on track with your fitness goals. And please do not think that I'm advocating for continuing to push through injury and pain, or even that I'm saying that pain and injury are normal. That's not it at all. Most injuries are due to circumstances that are completely out of our control. They're accidents. But we also can't ignore them and pretend that injury is never going to happen to us, because that can also increase anxiety and increase those feelings of worry and fear that we feel if and when we do get injured. So while I absolutely do not wish you pain or injury, I don't wish that on anyone, I've worked with enough people over the years to know that pain and discomfort are going to happen periodically. And while 99% of the time these are results of things that happen outside of the gym, it tends to have the biggest impact on our fitness routines. So having some awareness and some strategies around this to work through it can be really helpful and lessen the fear and the anxiety around it. But before we dive in, a quick and important reminder. If you are currently or in the future dealing with chronic pain or an injury, please make sure to talk to your primary care doctor or healthcare provider before starting or changing your fitness routine. It is so important to get proper medical guidance to understand the best way forward for your body, especially when pain is involved. And most health professionals that I've encountered are going to encourage you to maintain some sort of fitness routine, but they can give you some guidance and maybe give you some certain movements to avoid or limit if necessary to help in the recovery process. Safety always comes first, ladies, so I'm going to advocate for that. All right, let's get started. Let's dive into how to overcome the mental and physical obstacles of injury and chronic pain so you can still reach your fitness goals. And I wanted to start with one of the most frustrating parts of injury, and that is reduced mobility due to reduced physical activity. So when you're injured, reduced mobility is one of the first challenges you're going to face. Pain can make even simple movements feel sometimes impossible. And the thought of losing all your progress can be really discouraging. Whether it's low back pain from carrying heavy gear or years of inefficient posture, joint pain from long hours on your feet, or post-surgical recovery, limited mobility can really stop you in your tracks. So when you stop moving, your muscles start to weaken, your joints stiffen, and the pain can often get worse. So we want to help to overcome it. And we can start that by doing really low impact exercises. Things like swimming or cycling, which are easy on the joints but still help to keep your body moving. That can be a great place to start. And honestly, even walking can be a game changer. And I always like to encourage people to start really small, manageable sessions. So you don't have to worry about doing a full workout if we're working through injury or coming back from an injury. So maybe even just a 10-minute walk around base or gentle yoga stretches in your living room. Remember, we're building consistency, not intensity. So 5 to 10 minutes of gentle movement is going to be better than none at all. All right? And don't skip the mobility work. I know it may feel boring, but even if you're not ready for a full workout, stretching and flexibility is going to help keep your joints healthy and prevent stiffness, which is going to help you as you get back into your workouts. So doing daily stretches, foam rolling, self-massage, all of that can help to maintain your range of motion and prevent future or further injury. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that I made after my knee surgery, and it absolutely came back to bite me when I was in college. I ended up with a gnarly case of IT band syndrome that was so painful that I couldn't straighten my knee out at all, and it even kept me up at night. I could barely walk or play softball for a few weeks until I could get in to see the physical therapist, and she taught me some really amazing techniques to manage it and keep my knee healthy long term. I still use most, if not all, of the techniques that she taught me then today, so it's been really helpful. So do not skip the mobility work. Fear of re-injury is another major mental block, and it's easy to become overly cautious after being hurt. I know that personally because you're so worried that any movement might make things worse. You're so afraid of that fear that you want to avoid any movement that's going to cause re-injury or make it worse. And it's really easy to be afraid of pushing too hard, making things worse, especially when you're already stretched thin, balancing all these other things in military life, household, possibly kids. And this fear can hold you back from even getting started again after pain or injury. And if this sounds like this is your mental block, I highly recommend that you reach out to work with a qualified professional to help you through this. Working with a physical therapist or a qualified trainer, emphasis on qualified trainer, that can create a safe step-by-step plan that will help you to rebuild and regain that confidence while protecting your injury. And they can design a plan that allows you to exercise safely without pushing your body beyond its current limits. I also really encourage you to use visualization techniques. And I know this sounds really simple and benign, but mentally rehearsing yourself moving safely and confidently without pain can reduce a lot of the anxiety around starting again. So it just helps your brain to be able to visualize that you can start to do those movements that you used to pain free. And that can really help you to get back into the routine again. Also, and I know I repeat this over and over, but it's true. Setting small, realistic goals can be a big game changer and help you to get back into the routine. So maybe it's lifting a little bit less or doing a modified movement at first and build from there little by little, step by step. We've talked about this in the past. The basics are the basics for a reason. It might feel like a step backwards at first, but by revisiting and strengthening the foundations after injury, it's really the best way to build back even stronger. I used to be afraid to do box step-ups or lunges because I thought it would hurt my knee again. But I started really small and built my confidence up really in my knee. I needed to rebuild the confidence that my knee could handle it. And it's scary at first, for sure, but your brain has to face that fear so that it can register that you are safe. And it can turn off that protection pathway, that pathway that you're like really guarding around that injury. All right, let's be real. Between deployments, constant PCS moves, and all the stress that comes with military life, mental fatigue is a real thing. And when you're mentally exhausted, finding the energy to work out feels impossible. Add chronic pain to the mix and it wears you down. It is so easy to feel just mentally exhausted. So incorporating some mindfulness practices on top of all of the stretching, mobility, all of that can be very, very helpful to help combat that mental fatigue that we're experiencing with the added pain of injury. So just 5 minutes of deep breathing, meditation, or even journaling can help to calm your mind and help you to refocus. And it can really do wonders to help calm your mind and reduce the mental fatigue that comes with chronic pain. And again, setting really tiny achievable goals, especially on those days when you feel like life is really overwhelming. Commit to whatever you can. If that's just 5 minutes or just 10 minutes of movement, let's take that. And whether it's stretching or a short walk or any bit of movement, that will really help to boost your energy and break through that mental block of the mental fatigue. And, incorporating restorative activities, things that are really low mental stress, like yoga, stretching, slow-paced walking, go out in nature, that can really help to ease both the mental and the physical tension and help you feel more refreshed. And I used to manage a guest services department at a resort. I know this is like a little side story, but believe me, it will come back. This was such a stressful job for me. I loved the challenge, but the constant stress did a major number on my body. If you're like me, you hold all of your stress in your neck and your shoulders. And for me, the months and months of just walking into chaos every single day, it got to a point where I was in constant pain. It hurt to raise my arms to even drive my car. It would hurt to simply sit at my desk and do daily work. It was so painful. And the things that helped me the most were simple. Self-massage. I went and got a couple massages. Meditation. I carried a golf ball around with me for a while to do some self-massage while I drove to work and back home every day. I had to put in the effort. It did take effort, but it made such a massive difference in lessening that constant pain that came from stress and mental fatigue. It was building up in my muscles and causing pain. So helping or refocusing on the mindfulness practices was really helpful to help lessen that chronic pain. My fourth point for you is that when you're hurt, when your body is in pain, it will naturally try to protect that injured area by moving different. It's a really natural compensatory response that your body has to protect from pain. And when we do this, it often leads to compensatory movement patterns where you overuse one side of your body or shift your posture in ways that can cause new pain and potential injury. Think of maybe limping after a leg injury or hunching your shoulders because of back pain. This is probably the biggest thing that I see with my coaching clients. Years and years of compensatory movement patterns leading to inefficient movement patterns and eventually pain, and sometimes this can lead to injuries of their own. So in order to combat this or overcome this, we need to incorporate some corrective exercise. We need to correct those compensatory movement patterns that we have learned over time, often stemming from pain that happened years and years ago. And so when we incorporate these corrective exercises, we really want to target the muscle imbalances that come from compensating for your injury, whether it's a more recent injury or a past injury. Working with a qualified trainer, again, emphasis on qualified, or a physical therapist can help you focus on rebalancing your body with exercises that target your weaknesses caused by that compensation. We want to be really mindful of our movements. So another strategy is to really slow down during your workouts and pay close attention to your form. And this will help to retrain your body to move correctly. So once we know what those imbalances are, what those compensatory movement patterns are, then we can focus on exercise and be really mindful of our movements so we can help to retrain your body to move in more efficient movement patterns. And this is just one more reason that I don't love workout models that celebrate speed of completion over the quality of your movement, especially if you're returning to exercise after injury. We don't want to celebrate getting the workout done faster at the expense of quality movement. And if you're able, I would encourage you to ask a professional to assess your movement patterns. That way they can pinpoint where those compensations are happening and guide you towards correcting them before they become a problem or cause problems. And you do not have to wait to do this. You don't have to wait for pain or injury to arise in order to get these assessments done. In a perfect world, we would actually catch these imbalances early on before they cause additional problems, pain, injury, etc. I do a functional movement assessment with every single one of my private coaching clients, even if they feel amazing, zero pain at all. But it allows me to see any imbalances that they may have so that their program can help to reduce risk of injury and pain in the future. And I actually just started incorporating a structural assessment as well so that we can pinpoint inefficiencies at each joint that may be increasing their risk for injury in the future. And it's been really enlightening for those clients to really see and understand this correlation between how their compensatory movements can lead to discomfort and potential injury, and then how the exercises that I'm giving them are specifically designed to correct that, combat that. And here's something that we often overlook when it comes to pain and injury, and that is poor sleep and lack of recovery. Chronic pain often disrupts sleep. I mentioned that when I talked to you about my IT band syndrome. It really made it hard for me to sleep comfortably, and that is critical for your recovery. You need to be sleeping in order to repair and recover. That's the time that our body does that. So without proper rest, our body is going to really struggle to heal, and it's tough to stay motivated to work out when you're continuing to feel pain and discomfort and you're not healing. So if you are dealing with pain, you might not be getting the deep restorative sleep that your body is needing in order to repair and recover. And when you're exhausted, your motivation to work out is likely the first thing to go. So we need to also make sure that we're incorporating practices that are going to help you get better sleep and more restorative sleep. So really focusing on improving your sleep hygiene should be another piece of this overcoming pain formula. Establishing a routine bedtime and sticking to it, limiting our screen time before bed, trying to keep our bedroom cool and comfortable. These are all ways that we can start to help improve our sleep hygiene. I also like to incorporate relaxation techniques before bed. So practices like progressive muscle relaxation or deep breathing can help calm your body and your system and help reduce muscle tension. That's going to help you get better sleep. And you may also want to adjust your workout intensity based on your sleep quality. So if you're not getting great sleep, you may want to adjust or give yourself permission to dial back the intensity of your workouts that next day. So you may want to opt for a lower impact or a more restorative exercise that next day, and that's going to be better than nothing at all, right? I hope that you've caught on by now that as long as your primary care physician has cleared you for movement, the best thing that you can do as you're working through an injury is to keep moving. Notice that none of the techniques that I've given you today are telling you don't exercise until you're back to 100%. As long as your PCM has told you, hey, keep moving, maybe with these limitations, these guidelines, the best thing that you can do is to keep moving. And the research supports this. So even if you can't use that particular part of your body, you can still continue to exercise the rest of your body and continue to make progress. Training the non-injured parts of your body can actually accelerate the recovery of the injured areas. And this is primarily through this phenomenon of cross-education, or we sometimes call it cross-transfer or contralateral strength training, which is a phenomenon where strength training one limb or part of your body actually results in strength gains or benefits in the corresponding non-trained or injured limb. Pretty cool, right? A 2018 study published in Frontiers of Physiology found that training the uninjured limb can increase strength in the injured limb by up to 10 to 20%, even without direct training of that side. And this study emphasizes the role of neural adaptations rather than just muscle hypertrophy. So training a non-injured limb activates these pathways, these neural pathways in the brain that are shared with the injured limb, resulting in strength gains and improved motor control on the injured side. It's really, really cool. So this is just another way of me telling you that you can still continue to exercise, even if you can't work out that one limb that is injured or that one part of your body that's injured. By working out the other parts, your brain actually helps to increase the strength and motor control of the injured limb. So you're still making progress even on that injured limb. Pretty amazing, right? And I'm going to get kind of nerdy for a second, so bear with me, but I'm just trying to emphasize why continuing to move is going to be so much more helpful than doing nothing at all. There's actually a lot of research around this, that exercising non-injured parts of the body promotes increased blood circulation throughout the body, which delivers those essential nutrients, oxygen, growth factors to the injured tissues. So by continuing to engage in aerobic and resistance training on non-injured areas, this can actually increase your systemic circulation, which will enhance the healing process of the injured tissues and accelerate tissue regeneration, reducing inflammation. So these are all good things for that injured tissue. Additionally, keeping the rest of your body active during injury prevents muscle atrophy and deconditioning, which can happen, as we would understand, can happen rapidly during these periods of inactivity. A 2020 study in sports medicine actually found that individuals who trained non-injured limbs maintained a higher overall fitness level and muscle mass, facilitating quicker rehabilitation and reducing the impacts of detraining, deconditioning on the injured area. So it actually helped them to maintain their fitness even on that injured area, injured limb. And training non-injured parts of the body can also have mental health benefits that contribute to faster recovery. And this is really key. This is probably the most important thing I'm going to share with you today. By staying active, a 2017 study found that individuals who continued exercising non-injured limbs had lower levels of depression and anxiety, common issues faced during injury recovery. We have gone over that. So this is really key, that it will actually help to reduce the stress hormone cortisol and boost immune function by continuing to work out, even though you can't work out that injured area of your body. And lastly, training non-injured limbs can improve motor learning and joint stability through the enhanced coordination and proprioception, which is the body's ability to sense its position in space. So a study in 2019 with the European Journal of Applied Physiology found that motor control and balance improve on both sides of the body through unilateral or one-sided training, contributing to quicker rehabilitation of injured limbs and better joint stability once activity resumes. So even though you're not working out that specific limb, by working out the other side of the body, you can actually improve both sides, both the injured and the non-injured side. So hopefully after listening to this episode, we can all collectively start to shift our feelings around injury from fear and anxiety to maybe more optimism and opportunity. Opportunity to get back to the basics and fix any cracks in the foundation if there are any. Opportunity to come back stronger by training the opposite side of our body. Maybe we injured our more dominant side of our body. This is an opportunity to not only strengthen our non-dominant side, but it will, by default, help our injured side. I've worked with so many women over the years who've experienced injuries. Skiing injury, frozen shoulder, chronic low back pain, IT band syndrome, plantar fasciitis, dog who ran into their knee and fractured their kneecap. It happens. But the great part is that we are able to keep working through their initial fear and worry and get them back to their 100%, faster, stronger, and much more confident in their bodies because they prove to themselves that they don't have to fear injury anymore. And that's what I hope for you as well. So to wrap up today's episode, here are a few simple steps that you can start taking right away to stay on track even when or if you're dealing with an injury or chronic pain right now. Step 1 is to start small, whether it's a 10-minute walk, a quick foam rolling session, or light stretching. Small steps can lead to big progress. It's better than nothing at all. Step 2, incorporate mindfulness. Even a few minutes of breathing or meditation can go a long way in reducing mental fatigue and keeping you motivated. A calm mind can help reduce pain-related stress and promote faster recovery. Step 3 is find and work with a professional. Get some guidance from a physical therapist or a qualified trainer to develop a personalized plan to safely rebuild your strength and avoid those compensatory movements in the future. And 4 is to focus on recovery and sleep. Sleep is a crucial part of your fitness journey, whether or not you're injured, but even more so when your body is trying really hard to repair. So make it a priority. Whether you're dealing with injuries from military training, the physical demands of daily life as a military spouse, sports-related injuries, or you're just feeling the weight of chronic pain, there is a way forward. It's all about adjusting your approach. Work smarter, be kind to yourself through this process, and embrace the opportunity to come back stronger. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the PCS-Proof Podcast. If this episode resonated with you, if this is what you needed to hear today, I would love to hear from you. And you can reach me on our Instagram, which is the PCS-Proof Podcast, or you can leave a comment right here through Spotify. I would love for you also, if you've not done so already, to subscribe. Leave a quick review and share it with someone who might need a little extra support today, especially if they're going through pain or injury right now. And as always, Stay strong, stay resilient, and remember, no matter where in the world military life sends you, together we are PCS-Proof. Adios.
And here is the legal language. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to replace professional advice. The views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or fitpathcoaching.com. Moreover, we are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast.